Hey guys, so today I actually want to talk about the jungle timer overlays like Blitz and Porofessor. There might be more, and why they not might be as useful as you first have thought. So I used to have this myself in the past, but over time I learned it can very easily become a crutch instead of a useful tool, and why I think they might be harming your progress instead of helping it, and what I think is a better way to actually improve in the jungle and actually become better. So a while ago I got coached by Eags. He's a challenger coach, he's extremely good, he's helped people reach like rank 1, and he's actually gonna do a session with me on stream this week, and I'm gonna make a video about it. I think it's gonna be extremely useful, so follow for that one. But regardless, one of the first things he told me was actually to get rid of this app ASAP, because in his experience it was just harming his students' progress, and he thought he could do the same for me. So I just trusted him in the beginning and got rid of it, and it turns out that he was completely right, because over time, as I learned how to jungle better and see the game in a different way and just not be distracted by these overlays and all these timers popping up everywhere, I was just seeing the game better, and it was much easier to prioritize the right things and be more effective, because I don't want to say it simplified the game, but it made me a more effective jungler, and it made it more obvious what was the correct play in each timing, because it's very easy when you see all the timers to just, I need to be here, then this is spawning, and you're actually not paying attention to what's happening in the game. And that's kind of the downside of these apps. So the point of the app is to help you keep track of jungle timers, but the problem is that when it does that, you're not actually paying attention to the jungle timers in the proper way, and you're not actually looking at the map the right way. So that's kind of where you go wrong. It's so easy to just fall into autopilot. You're hitting a camp, you're actually seeing, my Krugs is spawning in 30 seconds, I'm gonna recall so I can be there on time, or this is spawning then and then, and you're not looking at your top that's getting ganked right beside you, and if you moved, that's a free double kill and you can probably win the game off it. And that's kind of the problem with this app. So it is also stopping a lot of planning and more important things, and I'm gonna run through some timings that I think can prove my point. So important jungle timers, I'm just gonna run through like the first one and the really main ones in the early game that has a lot of impact in the jungle. It should, at least. If you don't, it's probably a sign that you're not looking and prioritizing the important things. So 330, that's Scuttle Crab. I hope we all know that one. That's an easy one. But 355, for example, 3 minutes and 55 seconds. What does that represent? So if one of you starts Raptors or Wolves, that's when that one's gonna respawn. And that's a big deal, because if you're playing as the Kane, for example, he starts on Raptors, he's taking the Krugs red, and then he's full clearing the way down to bot lane, for example, and you're full clearing in the other direction and you're taking the Scuttle. It's actually not that long until that Raptor spawns. So if you see him go for a full clear and then he goes for a gank, and then he even moves into river to take the Scuttle, then it might already be like 350 before he takes the Scuttle and then recalls. And then you can just take that Raptors for free, and you can probably even get the Krugs before you get there, recall, and you're gonna have a very accelerated experience lead, which is gonna have a huge impact. If you're playing like Vi Nocturne, for example, you're gonna get so fast to level 6, and he's gonna fall behind because he loves to farm. All the junglers that start Raptors usually are champions that like to farm a lot, so that's a very important timing and one you should know about. So 415 you should definitely know about. And what does that represent? I hope you know it. That's when the first normal camp's gonna spawn if you do a normal clear. If you start blue, that's when Grump's gonna spawn after you killed it. The next one's gonna spawn at 415. That's very important to protect your own, because it gives a lot of XP, and if you want to target the enemies, if you want to invade, it's gonna have a huge impact. That's a very important timing. And 5 minutes, hopefully we know 5 minutes, that's gonna be Drake and Grubs, of course. And 615, maybe not that obvious. You should know it because it's very important. So if both junglers are full clearing, taking the Scuttle, or not necessarily full clearing, but taking each Scuttle, trading them at 330, that's when the second Scuttle is gonna spawn at 615. Or if it's a little bit delayed, it's gonna be those amount of seconds later, but that's a very important timing because it's gonna giving a lot of XP. The first Scuttle, not as important. The second one is very important to get to like level 6. So So last one in the very early game, 6:45. What does that represent? It's actually very important. So that's going to be the first epic monster, the respawn. For example, red if you start red, or blue if you start blue. So that's when you're going to be with that respawn. That's going to be very important to protect. And also, if you want to set up an invade, that's going to be huge, because if you get to level 6, for example, and the enemy is not, if you got a scuttle or you got grubs to kind of accelerate your XP lead, you can invade on that timing, and it's very likely going to be a kill if you hit level 6 and the enemy is not. So that's a very important timing to exploit, and also makes it very easy to read when it's going to be where. If it's not there, you can just take it away for free, and it's going to be huge, especially if it's red buff, because it's so impactful in the early game. So that's just kind of to prove you like what you should know, because I wouldn't have known this in the past. So it's not like I'm trying to make you feel bad, make you feel clueless, because I was the same way even though I was in Masters. But this has like been so huge for me, and it's maybe a much better jungler and way more consistent. So instead of just autopilot, looking at the timers and making them tell you what to do, try to dictate the game on your own terms, figure out what's important in the given moment, and absolutely do your best. So I think this is going to make you better. It definitely made me better, so give it a go. I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one.